So I want to talk to you about something that's been driving me a little bit crazy and a lot of adult people a little bit crazy around the last couple of weeks. And that is not basketball related, not LeBron James decision related, but maturity related. Us seeing a 41-year-old man being so immature is just crazy.
At 41 years old, most iconic athletes are completely content relaxing at home and enjoying their post-retirement lives. However, the self-proclaimed king is actively turning the entire professional sports calendar into his personal reality television project. The sports media machine continues to act completely clueless while the league waits around for a grown man to speak. We are tearing down this embarrassing spectacle right now. Do you think holding up the entire league schedule at 41 years old is embarrassing behavior for a superstar? Or are you still falling for the social media hype? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below.
Right now, we have a 41-year-old LeBron James who's still out here treating free agency like a reality show. He has to be in the center of attention. He has to look like he's controlling everything and all that other stuff.
We need to have a serious, unfiltered conversation about something that has been driving mature sports fans completely crazy over the last few weeks. This isn't strictly about basketball tactical strategy or even basic free agency roster moves. This is entirely about maturity and basic self-awareness. Watching a 41-year-old man act like a dramatic teenager on a global stage is getting harder to watch with a straight face every single day. Right now, we have a 41-year-old veteran treating his career decisions like a scripted reality show on network television. He demands to be the center of universal attention at all times, making sure he looks like he is personally pulling every single operational string in the sports world.
The league, and financially tied to it mainstream media, is just sitting around waiting for him to decide when he's ready to speak. Now, they're constantly every day debating of where could he go, what team he's going to play for. It's Miami today, it's Cleveland tomorrow, and it's just going back and forth. It's Golden State the next day or whatever. But they really don't know what the hell he's going to do anyway. But it's the stupidity of the media that's financially tied to the NBA, not actually talking about his immature behavior, but debating where he's going like they would know anything about it. And,
the entire league structure, along with the corporate television partners who are financially tied to the product, are completely paralyzed. They are sitting around like lost puppies, desperately waiting for him to decide when he feels ready to speak. Every single morning, the mainstream sports media tunes in to run the exact same mindless daily debates. Today they claim he is moving to Miami. Tomorrow they swear he is packing his bags for Cleveland. The next afternoon, they pretend he is bound for Golden State. The undeniable truth is that these talking heads have absolutely no idea what he is going to do next. The complete stupidity of the media is astounding. Because they are financially tied to the NBA product, they refuse to call out his deeply immature behavior, choosing instead to endlessly speculate about potential team destinations just to fill airtime.
There's a Yahoo Sports article that came out recently. The title is basically this: he will make them wait. Insider says LeBron doesn't care about holding up anything in the NBA. Now, let me read a little piece of the article for you so you can kind of get a gist of what it's about, and then we'll continue. The article goes like this: it's going to be a long wait before the NBA, the teams, and their media partners confirm their marquee broadcast schedule. No one's going to miss out on potentially the last season of LeBron James.
Major sports article surfaced recently with a headline that completely summarizes this ridiculous situation. The title plainly states that he will make the entire league wait because insiders confirm he simply does not care about holding up the operational schedule. Let that sink in for a moment. The mainstream press is admitting that it is going to be a long, painful wait before the NBA franchises, front office executives, and television networks can finalize their premier broadcast schedule. The corporate networks are terrified of missing out on what they keep framing as his potential farewell tour. Let's be completely real with each other right now. This isn't going to be his final season. He is almost certainly going to drag this out for 2 more full seasons because he wants those quarter-century bragging rights to pad his future documentary.
But the man running the show is unbothered by the fact that the entire NBA calendar remains frozen, waiting for the monumental summer decision. Despite growing frustration from league executives and network television partners, the 41-year-old superstar has absolutely no intention of rushing his timeline to accommodate the league's complex logistical needs. During his latest appearance on ESPN, veteran NBA insider and expert that was kissing LeBron James' ass for the last few weeks, Brian Windhorst, made it clear that James is perfectly comfortable operating on his own terms. This is one thing I can say with confidence, Windhorst confidently told his colleagues. LeBron does not care about holding the league up with the schedule. He will make them wait until he's good and ready to make it.
The man running this whole show is totally unbothered by the fact that the entire NBA calendar remains completely frozen while everyone waits for his summer announcement. Despite massive, growing frustration behind closed doors from league executives and network partners, this 41-year-old superstar has zero intention of speeding up his timeline to help out the league's complex logistical needs. During a recent television appearance, a veteran NBA insider who has been praising him for decades spoke out with complete confidence. The reporter told his colleagues plainly that the superstar does not care about holding up the league schedule in the slightest. He will happily make the entire sports world wait until he is good and ready to make up his mind.
Now, the commissioner is publicly also saying, and at the Fanatics gathering, he said, hey, man, we need to finish the schedule. Christmas games, we got to get together. Opening week, national TV windows, everything is on hold. And LeBron's camp is basically shrugging their shoulders and, saying he'll announce when he announces. That's pretty much it. And it's not his game people want at this point. Not his game that people are waiting for to see. This is about him creating the drama, the complete circus that he brings with him that many people simply tune into because they have nothing better to do.
That is the exact arrogant vibe we are dealing with right now. Even the commissioner of the league had to address it publicly at a recent fan convention, admitting that the league desperately needs to finalize its operational schedule. The marquee Christmas Day matchups, opening week doubleheaders, and national primetime television windows are all stuck in complete limbo. Meanwhile, his personal camp simply shrugs their shoulders and tells the media that he will announce his plans whenever he feels like it. It isn't even his actual basketball production on the floor that people are waiting around to see at this stage of his career. This entire circus is about creating fake drama, fueling constant rumors, and dragging out a public spectacle that casual viewers tune into simply because they have nothing better to do with their afternoon. Look, everyone understands that free agents possess legal rights under their contracts. Everyone gets that a star player is allowed to take a reasonable amount of time to weigh his options with his family. There is zero issue with a player carefully evaluating his career. But there is a massive structural difference between taking a few days to make a thoughtful choice and turning an entire professional league into your personal waiting room. That is precisely what this feels like to any adult watching from the outside. At 41 years old, with 23 full seasons already in the books, you would naturally expect a grown man to make a clear decision and move on like a professional. Look back at how historical legends like Michael Jordan handled their business choices. Whenever Jordan made a major career announcement, he didn't force the league structure to freeze. He made his choice, issued a direct statement, and moved on like a mature, self-assured professional. With this guy, we get a dragged-out, exhausting process filled with dead silence, strategic leaks, and an obnoxious aura that screams he will only talk when he feels like giving permission. It is the exact same dramatic energy he has dragged around his entire career. Everything has to revolve around his personal brand. Everything has to be treated like an iconic cultural event. Everything has to be manufactured into endless digital content. That last point about content creation is the absolute key to understanding this entire mess. This situation isn't about the game of basketball anymore. This entire free agency delay is being engineered as primary material for the massive documentary that will drop after he finally retires. We all know it is coming. Outlets have already confirmed that camera crews are actively following him around to document his final years on the hardwood. He operates his own personal production outfit, uninterrupted, and has spent decades carefully building his personal brand image. Just like Michael Jordan produced his famous retirement series, this guy naturally feels the need to copy the playbook and release his own exaggerated version. When that docuseries eventually hits streaming platforms, we already know how this specific free agency saga will be framed to the public. The documentary will boast that even at 41 years old, he still completely controlled the operational calendar of the NBA. They will show dramatic clips claiming the commissioner was waiting, the television executives were begging, and the multi-billion-dollar franchises were frozen. The narrator will claim that the moment he finally made his grand choice, the entire sports world shifted on its axis. That is the heroic, fake storyline his team is actively preparing to sell to the public. That heavily edited documentary is going to present a completely fictional, fantasy version of reality. In the real world, actual sports fans in cities like Los Angeles are simply exhausted by his constant antics. His production team wants to portray an all-powerful king pulling the corporate strings deep into his 90s, but that story only works on a very specific, gullible audience. It works on the younger crowd, the hyper-immature social media generation, and the people who live exclusively for celebrity drama. It appeals to people who binge reality television, obsess over daily gossip updates, and spend their entire lives scrolling through endless memes and clickbait posts. For that specific crowd, this level of fake drama is top-tier entertainment. They are completely hooked on the endless scrolling and the constant media noise. For the older, more mature generation of basketball fans, the adults who are actually busy running their businesses and living real lives, this whole routine is just deeply annoying. Grounded adults do not sit around spending their limited free time waiting for a 41-year-old athlete to finally make up his mind. Mature people look at this entire circus and say, "Brother, just pick a team, sign the contract, and go play basketball." That is the clear division in the fan base today. Michael Jordan never put the sport through this kind of public humiliation. When Jordan was stepping away or making a return, he released a brief, clean, two-word statement. It was direct, professional, and entirely free of corporate theater. There were no months of cryptic social media posts, no selective leaks to friendly reporters, and no commissioner having to go on national broadcasts to plead for a decision so the league could print its physical schedule. Jordan didn't need the entire world to stop spinning just to feel validated. He acted like an adult and took the needs of other people into account. This guy does not care about anyone else in the building. He needs the entire world to freeze and stare at him. If he didn't have this constant media circus surrounding his daily routine, what else would he actually have to offer the news cycle? He feels a desperate need to stay directly in the center of the global conversation, even at 41 years old, which is honestly tragic for a person who has achieved so much financial success. That deep-seated need for attention is what makes this entire era feel so profoundly immature. A grown man who has been in the league longer than some of his current teammates have been alive is still operating like a needy teenager who just discovered social media clout for the very first time. He is still grandstanding, still manipulating the narrative, and still insisting that every routine career decision must be transformed into a made-for-television event. Everyone remembers a few months back when he teased that fake second announcement, which turned out to be nothing more than a cheap corporate commercial stunt to keep his name trending online. He pulls the exact same stunt every single offseason. The corporate media outlets financially tied to the NBA see the manipulation clearly, but they refuse to speak up out of fear of losing their credentials. Media insiders have openly admitted that networks like ESPN operate strictly as entertainment platforms first and sports reporting outlets second. This entire spectacle represents the classic behavior of an individual who simply never grew out of needing constant public validation. Nobody is saying the man isn't business savvy. He is exceptionally sharp when it comes to monetizing his personal brand image. This dragged-out free agency routine is almost certainly a deliberate strategy to generate material for his future media projects. It serves as just another calculated chapter in his ongoing self-promotional story. But that strategy carries a massive, permanent cost to his standing among true sports fans. While he is successfully feeding the younger, drama-obsessed crowd that loves online theater, he is quietly losing every ounce of respect from the mature adults in the room, the people who value basic professionalism, humility, and quiet competence. Once he finally steps away from professional basketball for good, you can bet that many media members who currently feel muzzled by network contracts are going to start speaking out. The moment his corporate influence and access control vanish, the real stories are going to come pouring out. Mature fans already see right through this garbage today. They recognize an individual who would rather hold an entire multi-billion-dollar sports league hostage than simply issue a statement stating his intentions and getting to work. Once you see the situation through that clear lens, it becomes completely impossible to go back to taking him seriously. He might win the short-term social media metric war, he might secure another dramatic chapter for his upcoming streaming series, and he might keep the internet commentators arguing for a few more weeks. But among the mature audience, the real fans who remember when iconic athletes handled their business with class and moved on, this behavior permanently damages his legacy. It chips away at his standing day after day. People called out these corporate stunts years ago, and watching him repeat them at 41 years old makes him look like an aging performer who is still putting on a show for children instead of carrying himself like the elder statesman he should be. That is the real, underlying story here. Not that he is so important that he can freeze the schedule, but that at his advanced age, he still desperately needs to freeze the schedule just to feel wanted by the crowd. The constant reality show theater is completely exhausting to real basketball fans. Share your thoughts down in the comments if you agree that it is time for this attention-seeking era to end. If you want straightforward sports commentary that refuses to protect massive public relations machines, click that like button and subscribe right now. I will see you in the next video.